What's up, YouTube? Brick here, Brick House Garage. I'm working a lot of extra hours because of the coronavirus going around. So we got a couple days off. I bought this mower because my grass is out of control and it's got some problems. We don't know what it is yet. He said there's fuel in the oil, so we're thinking maybe carburetor issue or a fuel shut-off solenoid or something like that. So we're gonna tear it down, figure out what's wrong, I'll show you how to repair it, and we'll go from there. All right, let me start ripping this sucker down. All right, so we got the cover pulled off. I pulled the spark plug out and it just poured fuel all over the ground. So spark plug looks good. It looks like it's been flushed with fuel for a long time. We're gonna kind of dig a little deeper. I'm gonna get you a better shot of the motor as we're tearing it down. But yeah, it's definitely a fuel control issue. So we're gonna press. All right, so we took the head off the motor while it was still in the mower and found that the piston just kind of fell in. So, but it won't crank. So pretty much there's a good bet that it got hydro-locked. So the cylinder got full of fuel, and when it got full of fuel, there was nowhere to compress it. And what happened is it probably snapped off the push rod, or the piston rod. So everything that I've opened has been full of fuel, so I can guarantee that's what happened. So we're gonna pop the crankcase open and see if we can see if it snapped off and how much carnage happened. So depending on how much carnage happened, we're either gonna rebuild it or we're gonna just put a new motor in it. I mean, I paid $200 for the mower. If I put a $600 motor in it and it lasts me another 4 years, I got my money's worth. So that's the way you got to kind of think of this kind of stuff. When you're going to buy it, make sure you look at worst case scenario parts and go from there. The guy only wanted 3, but I told him 2 because after he told me what he had already tried, you know, pulling the plug and it being full of fuel and it had stuck before and he kind of broke it loose. I knew there was definitely a big issue. So I looked at the price, like what's it going to cost me for a new motor. So all right, I'm going to crank it open. And he's already drained this with oil, drained all the oil out of this because he was like messing with it. So we know there's definitely not going to be too much in here. If there is, I got plenty of sawdust from woodworking projects. Top is keeping us from popping it off. I mean, that looks like it, so we'll get a hammer. So yeah, we just gave it a little tap and it separated. The whole thing's full of fuel. So as it comes off, I imagine we're gonna be looking at a new motor. But we'll let you look at the inside and see what's what. Alright, so we got a bunch of bearings and shit that broke apart. Yeah, it's a motor. Yeah, there's the rod. Alright, so as you can see, this is the bearing journal, and then the rod, you can see it in there, it's just bent over. So if you look inside there, you can see the rod right there is just bent over. We've got the whole business right here all shattered. And we got, you know, a valve that just fell out. We'll deal with that shit later, but yep, there you go. So this motor's trashed. And it broke the stator pin for the motor. So there's a lot of work to be done here. All right, so we got the case open. There was a ton of fuel in here. It pretty much washed everything. Everything was brand new in here because it's been full of gas for so long. It sheared off the pin right here. This is what holds your crank square. That thing's totally shot. You can see the rod in here. If you look, I mean, this is floating around, but once you get it free, you can actually see the rod working its way back and forth. So there you go. There's the rod. So there's our piece of our rod that's supposed to be holding our piston to the crank. Yeah, this is going to be just change a motor. It's not going to be worth my time to rebuild this. I can use this for spare parts down the road and maybe something decorative. But you know, at 500 bucks, if I spend 8 hours, 10 hours cobbling this thing back together, I mean everything's bent. That threw the bolt right through the rod. And this is the connecting end. So there's your cap right there. It just totally destroyed it. So yeah, we're just gonna press and we'll order a motor, and I'll show you what the install is. But that's why you price it this way. That's why you gotta think worst case scenario, and that's what I was planning on. When he told me what happened, he said it was full of fuel, and when he pulled the spark plug and when he drained the oil, it was full of fuel. So I knew, you know, hydrolock was a definite probability, highly likely, and that's what it was. It just filled the cylinder with fuel. When it came up, you know, it sprayed all the fuel past the ring because there was no heat to keep that ring seated, and pressed as much as it could through there, and then it just broke off the rod. So that's what we're looking at. Like I said, we'll order a motor and we'll go from there. All right, well, I hope you guys learned something. When you're going to buy projects like this, like I said, think of the worst case scenario. Really research what you're buying, and it'll never fail you. Like I said, I paid 200 bucks for it. If I put a brand new motor in it and it gets me 5 years, you know, 100 bucks a year on a mower, that ain't bad. So we'll see you next time here at Brick House Garage, and be safe, stay inside, do your duty during this coronavirus issue, and hopefully we all come out of it okay. What's up? Welcome back to Brick House Garage. So we went and got our new Briggs & Stratton motor. This came with a 15.5 horsepower. This is a 19. It was 560 bucks at Northern Tool. I'm sure if you shopped around, you could get a better deal. I was kind of in a hurry. My grass is out of control. Plus, we're on quarantine for the coronavirus, so why not get some work done around the yard? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna crack this sucker open. I'll show you what's in the box, and we'll start putting it back together. There's really 4 mount bolts here, 1 wiring harness, 1 hot wire for your starter, and the throttle cable, and then your fuel line to hook up, and that's about it. The shaft should go straight down through into here, and that'll drive, you know, our mower and our belt drive. All right, so I'm gonna get at it. All right, so this one comes with a muffler assembly. We have an exhaust kind of tube, so we're gonna pop that off and see if we can swap that out. We might as well do that while it's in, and let's just get this thing bolted up. So there's our brand new motor. And like I said, 4 bolts. Here's your hot wire where your hot wire hooks up, and then here's your cannon plug for that. So it should be a pretty quick install. Here's the fuel filter and the fuel line. This looks like it has like an automatic choke or something like that, which the other one didn't have, but I don't see it being an issue. All right, I'm gonna get her slide in. So if you look, there's 4 bolts to hold the motor in. So I'm getting this one right now, but they're not threaded when you buy it brand new. So you're gonna need to tap those or just kind of send it, use the impact and send it. And that's what I'm doing right now. And while you're down here, you're gonna wanna put your belts on. So get some slack. Roll the belt over. Let's get a flat head. Just kind of walk it on. There we go. Lock it right on. And do the upper one too. Okay, there's some belt guards that are keeping me from putting it on, so I'm gonna have to take the mount bolts out, slide her back, and then put it on. There we go. Now the drive belt's on. Slide her back forward. Alright, there we go. Line one bolt up, and then we'll go from there. Loosen her up a little bit. There we go. Should be able to wiggle it now. Not loose enough. There we go. That's plenty loose. Alright, drive belt's still on. Accessory drive's still on. We'll go up top. And come up on top. Line up our bolt holes real quick. So there's one right there. Just hand start them all. There it is. Back one. And she started. And one more. we got all 4 started. Let's go back under, tighten them back up. Verify our drive belt's on still. Yep, she's still on there, so we're gonna send them. All right, so we got our mount bolts in. Those guys are going to be 9/16, and they're nice and tight. This motor ain't going nowhere. Only thing we got left to do under there is tighten up the bolt for the sprockets that run your 2 belts, or pulleys that run your 2 belts. So we're going to need to get a size for that. I had stabbed it just to make sure the belts didn't go anywhere. But there's your bolt right there. Let's go grab one of those, probably 1/2 inch. Or probably 5/8. Yeah, 5/8. So we're gonna do our 5/8 for that pulley, and then we should be done underneath. Good enough. All right. So that's it for underneath. We're going to drop her back down. We'll start hooking the top back up. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install our wiring. So we're going to hook our battery up to here. We're going to hook up our wiring harness. Then we'll go on the other side, do the fuel line. We might want to do the fuel line from this side. I'm going to feed it back this way. I got a vice grip on it, so it's going to be kind of hard to feed. I might stop the camera. But yeah, all we got to do is hook up our starter, hook up our wiring harness. We're going to mess with this muffler and see if we can put the little muffler tube on it instead of this, this standard exhaust muffler. All right, let's get started. So. We got 1 screw here. Or 1 nut. It's going to be 7/16. So hook up our starter wire. Let's get the flat side facing the flat like that. Put that guy on there like that. All right, and then this is our wiring harness. So we got 4 and 4. You see there's only 4 used. So what we're going to do is we'll flip it around so that the 4 going into the 4 it needs. Click it like that. I don't know if it goes in both ways, but there you go. That should be that. This thing's brand new, so obviously it doesn't have any oil in it. Let's put some oil in it. It's going to take some 1030. We do 1.5 is what's recommended. Dipstick. All right, and then you can use a funnel. This isn't in an awkward spot or anything, so we're just going to pour it straight in. One down, 1/2 to go. All right, so you got your little indication on the side here. We did about an eighth. And almost there. I'm sure there's some preservative in this engine already, just because of the way they ship them. So we'll do right on the money. There we go. Got our oil in. Let's get this fuel line over here. Alright. So we got a fuel filter back here in the corner. That is a lot of extra fuel line. After we get this thing fired up, we'll look into trimming that a little. But let's put the fuel line on there for right now. Pop these vice grips off of there. You should start filling that fuel filter right away. We got our offset needle nose. We can get that clamp on there. Those vice grips really crushed the hell out of that fuel line, so we'll squeeze that back into place. And then see if we can get a hold of this guy right here. Slide her up. Lock her on there. There we go. Our fuel line's hooked up. And I'm going to pause you and we're going to come around the other side. Alright, so we're going to hook up our throttle cable. To get the throttle to go forward enough so you can hook it up, there's this little tab stuck in a little hole right here. You just pull it out, your throttle advance to idle. And then you got a little retaining clip. This is the old one, and then this is our new one. So pretty much the same thing. I'm going to get a Torx so we can hook that up, and then we should be good to go. We got a Torx 25. I'm going to put our cable in here. This tab goes down here. Let's get it level and send the screw in. So you can get it drop in there. Tab's not in. So let's back it back off. Make sure that tab drops. There it goes. Now I'll tighten it down. What you're doing essentially is locking down the sleeve that throttle cable rides in, so that doesn't move forward and back when you push the throttle. Alright, so it looks like we're good here. Fuel's hooked up. Should auto prime. I'm going to pack up and we'll fire her up. Alright, so let's fire her up. We'll put it on choke. Bob said, good. We got our brand new motor in our mower. We got a 19 horse versus the 15.5 that comes in it. So instant motor swap. Bottom line, I bought it for 200 bucks from a guy in the neighborhood who is a good guy. He's a fellow airman, and he's getting ready to go to Elmo. So you always shoot for worst case scenario, and you hope for best case. But we ended up getting worst case. So changed the motor. Didn't take too long, but 560 all in with the motor and the mower. We're looking at 700 bucks for a used riding mower, which is about average. So we didn't knock it out of the park on this one, but keep your eye out and have a great day. Make sure you like and subscribe over there at Brick House Garage, and we'll see you next time.